Hi, it's Jody. So today I got some new prototypes in the mail because if you follow me at all, then you may know that I've been making a bunch of little whole cloth quilts for a new class. And what's kind of happened is each one that I make, I decide there's some other shape that I really want to have. And that's how these happened. And so this is what it looks like. It's like a kite kind of shape. And this is the biggest one, but I only cut out some little 8-inch blocks, so we're gonna use the little tiny one. But I'm just playing around with, I wanted them for a whole cloth that I'm gonna make, but I also know that I can make blocks and borders and all kinds of other crazy things, so I thought I might as well play with it. And I also have been playing around with a new camera, so this was kind of the perfect opportunity to film this and mess around with the camera settings. So I was just going to share, I don't know, I'm just going to play around, see what kind of blocks I can make. So I just marked all these lines because I don't know exactly what it is I'm going to do. So I'm just going to, I don't know, I'm going to start make these kind of, I think I'm going to try to make like a little, well, that wasn't lined up, Dresden plate kind of block, like if I needed a block design. Do these ones first, line up the points. And you know, I mean, normally I would just, you know, without the shapes, you can easily mark it because you could just, you know, measure out and put some little reference points everywhere. But that kind of takes time. And so I just thought, gosh, these are angles that I like to have and use a lot. So it would just be much easier for me because I do a lot of marking, and so I don't want to have to do any more work than than needed. So slide this last one in here. Oh, I didn't mark very well. Just need the point on that one. Whoop. And I like to always kind of overscore, just be sure that well, obviously I'm not going to quilt this, but if I went to quilt it, I want to see where the sharp point should be so that I can stop stitching in the right place. This would actually be much easier if it were a little bit bigger of a shape. So, you know, it kind of looks like a Dresden. You could have put a circle in the center or something. But what I love most about the shapes is that I can quilt this just as is. You know, I can quilt every one of these lines and be done. But more often than that, I like to use these shapes. And I mean, you could now just come in and not actually stitch any of these lines. You could just use these as like boundaries. And maybe, you know, you want to put something in here. Maybe you want to put feathers, or you already have a center line. You could put feathers on both sides of this, or leaves in here or something. So that's one option if you don't want to have to do ruler work to stitch these. But now that I'm looking at this right now, what I really notice a lot is that I would like to have a frame right there. Right there. So I'm just going to grab a bigger one, a much bigger one actually, so I can get that same angle. And then I can just mark this little frame in here. That, I mean, that really changes the look of it. I'm not a math person, so the less measuring and reference points I have to do, the better. So that kind of changes the look altogether, you know, and it kind of gives you even more options. So maybe you do feathers or leaves or whatever design you want in there. And then I would probably stitch this frame, because now it looks like that box is back behind this design. And I'd probably put some kind of a fill in here to kind of make it stand out. But also in looking at this, I think I would probably also make a frame out here if this were a block. And just kind of from the points, you know, if you wanted something a lot more custom looking, you could do something like this. Yep. Gosh, I really like that. No. And maybe you put, you know, a different designs in here, or maybe you just stitch just this, just the lines. You could do that too. So now that I'm looking at this, try a couple more things that maybe, where's that little one at? Right here. I'm gonna mark this again. Oh, you know what? This time I want to mark it this way. So you can flip it and get just a different look. So it's going to be some longer points. Maybe, well, that was with the short side down. What if we put one of these in here? Oh, that might be kind of cool. See? Oh, that's neat. I like it. It's one of the other things I really like about using the shapes, because you can kind of hold them there and kind of audition different shapes or sizes or what you think you might do before, especially because I don't generally design on paper first. I like to just do it on the quilt. So if I can lay a shape down and know ahead of time, then that's a little bit better for me. So, you know, and you could quilt this. This is probably more than enough quilting if you just wanted to quilt that. Maybe you put a frame around this. Maybe you just do kind of some swirly things out here. But I'm thinking it might be kind of cool if I did, like maybe I want kind of a ray coming out of there. That'd be neat. And I did make these, this set. My other sets don't have it. I don't know if you can even see it, but I had a dotted line put here so that, like in the case of this one, I could just, after I mark that, I could just slide this up and, oh gosh, it's hard to see on that. Line that dotted line up. If I want, let's say I want an echo there. And that kind of gives me a whole nother area to put a design. I don't have the top outside reference point, so I'm not sure how straight these are going to be, but you get the idea. And I can do that 1/4 inch echo. And again, I mean, you don't have to stitch just these lines. You can add something in that shape if you want. But I really like this. It's like it's exploding out from the center.